Well, in 2012, Australian troops in the Uruzgan province had made significant inroads. They had facilitated a better life for thousands of Afghans in the region. The ADF established and secured the first school for girls, and it was a success. I saw it firsthand with the Governor-General Quentin Bryce at the time. And this is my report from almost 10 years ago. Little girls that have never known peace, it's difficult for them to fathom the significance of being the first female Governor-General, but the importance of her visit wasn't lost on them. Australia built the Malali Girls' School in Tarankot last year, and today more than 600 students are enrolled. They make up part of the 30% minority learning to read and write. The Governor of Uruzgan says his province is an example for the whole country.
Uruzgan's people didn't know about the school, didn't know the name of school. Alhamdulillah, but thanks to God, today we are having this kind of great building.
Under Taliban rule, buildings like this were burned to the ground. Girls were banned from learning. 10 years ago, scenes like this just didn't exist. Now, there's 29 schools across the Uruzgan province, and more women and young children are going to school.
And I want to assure you that all people of Afghanistan, especially people of Uruzgan, have they are very keen to get education. And we will fulfill their desire.
There's signs of progress in Kabul too. Just days ago, 300 female leaders from across the country met in one room, mapping out a plan to improve the rights of Afghan women. This has never happened before.
It took an enormous amount of courage just for them to be here today. They had to get escorted, they had to travel under extreme conditions, but they, with determination, they made it happen.
The Australian Female Engagement Team are also instrumental in development, supporting women in the Afghan National Army and the Uruzgan community.
We know that women make up 50% of the population, and they have a really strong influence over getting their brothers, their fathers and their sons to reintegrate into the peace process.
That process is ongoing, but what is clear is that when Australia's military leave, they'll leave a lasting impression.
The relationship that we have with Australian people, it's phenomenal.
Laura Days, Sky News, Tarankot. Well, joining me live is the Honourable Dame Quentin Bryce, who served as the 25th Governor-General of Australia. Thanks so much for your time. It was almost 10 years ago that we were at that girls' school in Tarankot. Do you remember what that was like? Do you remember the hope?
Oh, absolutely. Of course I do, Laura. And when I look at the film and I see the vivacity amongst those girls, their enthusiasm, the joie de vivre, it says everything really about the power of education, opening up opportunities. And it was a very memorable occasion. I think of, too, how proud the Governor of Uruzgan province was about that development, as was every single leader, and they were all men at official levels whom I met in Afghanistan across several visits there, including President Karzai. They were always very keen to impress upon me what advances were being made for girls' education, particularly. But you know, one of the things that you learn is that you need to see things for yourself. There's nothing like that, and those marvellous young ones having all the fun and joy of being together at school, what that was going to mean for their lives and their futures.
Yeah, it was palpable at the time. And
it was made possible by Australian aid, by the huge effort of our wonderful servicemen there who actually built that building, the input from Australians who were supporting the cause of human rights for women in Afghanistan, non-government organisations, also the Australian aid. So it symbolised enormous contribution and commitment and care for opportunities for women and girls and their futures in Afghanistan. I think it was 8 years ago, and how I would love to see how they're going now, because it would have made such a difference to their world to be in an environment about learning, learning to learn, learning to read, literacy, books, changing their lives, and the togetherness of it too, being in those important, influential years of girlhood in a learning environment.
And those girls would now be young women. We don't know what has become of them, but we can only hope that they were able to use some of this education